Hello out there,
Hi.
everyone. Hi.
Welcome to the musical QuaranStream. We're on week 1,000,000 whatever. And I'm Brie.
And I am Glenn.
And for the past 2 weeks, actually for the past 4 weeks, probably for the past month, we've been pitching musicals rather than remembering musicals or, kind of doing more of a critique or analysis of that type of stuff. So what we're doing today is I pitched a musical on Wednesday. So if it's Saturday, it must be Glenn's turn to pitch a musical. Just to talk kind of briefly how our week has been going. We are wearing some lovely fundraising shirts from homage.com. They're a company outside of Columbus, Ohio. Mine funds hospitals fighting COVID-19 in the Columbus area. There's about, I think, 5,000, 6,000 confirmed cases in that county. I would have actually loved it if my hospital did something like this, but I love the shirt anyway. Their shirts are so soft. A little bit more expensive than I think I wanted to spend, but they last forever. We have a lot of their shirts. One of my former students interned with them, and that's how I kind of got to know them. But basically my shirt is wherever the art of medicine is loved, therefore there was also a love of humanity. And I just thought that was brilliant because I like art and I like medicine and I like my job in research and I like all the doctors I work for. So I knew that this was going to get some heavy rotation on my, casual Fridays.
Yes.
And Glenn's shirt actually funds the art museum. One of the first places we went when we moved up to Columbus was the art museum. We went a few times when family was in town and really like it, really want to support it. There's a whole bunch of other ones, like a fund for coffee shops and a fund for, I think, sports, a fund for the zoo. The zoo's really popular if you ever heard of Jack Hanna.
Yeah.
So if you do have, I think these are about $30 each, and normally I try to do anything $20 and under. So like I said, this is a bit of a splurge, but if you want to support somebody who is struggling in a really hard hit area of the country, we highly, highly recommend. And like I said, we've been buying their shirts whenever there's a sale, and they are so comfy. I'm probably gonna just fall asleep in this after the stream if I'm honest, because it's nice out. We just got done finished watching the new season of She-Ra.
Yes.
Which was great. I think we really enjoyed that.
As it's the final season of She-Ra, so if you've been waiting for the last episode before you binge the whole thing, now's the time.
Yeah, there's no more. So, and then there's going to be He-Man coming out. So I think from those of us who kind of grew up on She-Ra and He-Man is a nice, fulfilling journey down one side.
Noelle Stevenson was in charge of She-Ra. Kevin Smith is going to be in charge of He-Man. And the stuff I've already seen coming out of He-Man, I, of course, grew up as a little kid. I loved He-Man. He-Man was my favorite thing in the world. Everything that's coming out about the new He-Man series looks exciting. So.
Yeah, now I'm really excited, and I think one of my favorite characters in the old She-Ra was definitely Catra, and she had the battle cat, the way He-Man had the battle cat, and so that came out in season 5. I'm not going to spoil anything, but highly recommend. Really enjoy. Hi everybody, just noticing the chat.
Jenny
Welcome.
and Bristol have all checked in.
The other thing is, haven't done a whole lot of theater stuff, unfortunately. I think we're hearing a lot of bad news out of the theater realm.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people were really disappointed that the Tonys weren't going to be held, myself included, because that's my birthday is on the Tonys. so
the Tonys are a big event every year for Brie.
So I was destined to go into theater. If there's a big holiday event on my birthday, that was just angels sing. My middle name's Antoinette, so I just felt it was complete destiny. So a lot of people were disappointed with that. They're instead going to show the film of Grease with a sing-along at the bottom, and I think a lot of people were sad about that. Also, I think that we kind of anticipate that people with all the money, like Disney, could just let things run forever, and they're shutting down Frozen on Broadway, which was pretty popular, and I think a lot of people were getting nervous about that. That kind of signifies some economic decline from one of the major players that have really revolutionized and brought kind of Broadway back into this family-friendly tourist destination, and so I know people were concerned about that. So the way I deal with crises is I invent imaginary worlds. So we've been playing Animal Crossing for about a month now.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a little community theater in my Animal Crossing. And I hope when it's up and ready, I'm putting up all the panels. It has lighting. It has costumes. I made a little poster. I have a little T-shirt that I wear around the island that all my little villagers think is great. But I'm hoping maybe I can invite a whole bunch of my actor friends who also play Animal Crossing, and we can maybe do a public domain reading. So we were talking about like Midsummer Night's Dream. So something that we all have and something that we could just film and put up on YouTube of all of our little Animal Crossing people performing on my lovely little stage, and we can force all the little people to sit in the audience and watch.
Yes.
So that's how I deal with not being able to do theater, is doing virtual theater and trying to figure out a way how to do that.
And this weekend I am also participating in the third Quarantine Bake Off.
Which you're supposed to do as a team, and you haven't asked me, so...
Oh, is this one supposed to be teamwork? Oh man, I completely missed that in the. Okay, after the show, we're definitely going to brainstorm team ideas.
Yes.
I got so used to Quarantine Bake Off being like, just take these things and make something out of it. I completely missed the teamwork aspect this time.
Yep. So and
that's she waited until we were live streaming to call me on it. I've mentioned it like 5 times today.
I was like, okay. So yeah, that'll be fun.
All right.
I was like, I think I don't really remember what all of the prompts are. I remember one was like a peach and one was like a sword fight. So it seems like it's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very excited about that.
It's like peach, a sword fight, a misconception, a period of silence, and a tree growing.
Oh,
that's the ingredients.
So that sounds really fun. I didn't participate in the last one because I was just like, oh, everybody's gonna see wild turkey, and there's not many different ways to interpret that, unfortunately. So I was like, I'm not doing that. So so I'll be excited to write kind of a pair team effort on this one. That's been really fun, kind of going on, and then of course I've been having like theater dreams. Like I don't know if anybody else out there has theater dreams. Maybe it's just theater people. But I was telling Glenn this morning, I woke up at like 6:30 to feed the cats, and there was like, I was auditioning, and I was like out in the lobby, and they said, yeah, like when you go into the theater, like just start performing the whole time, like don't wait till you get to the stage to start your monologue. And I was like, great. So I'm like tumbling down the aisles, and I'm like performing my heart out, and then I realized that like there was somebody still on stage, and they're doing scenes, and oh no. So they had a bit of a crisis. And then I saw this one piece that was supposed to be about COVID-19, and it was like using vampirism as like a metaphor for it. I'm like, great, I need to write this down and wake up. And I forgot about half of it. The curse of dreams. If you guys have ever experienced that, please comment below, let us know. It's very, very frustrating sometimes where you think you have a really great idea, and even though it doesn't make 100% sense, I always try to write it down on my phone. I love keeping a little notes app up, just on the off chance I can kind of just like pull something later and write about it. And this didn't work out so well to me. I think sometimes like you just, all right, put it aside, go feed the cats, and then it's all gone.
Yes. Well, and we've talked a bit about the podcasts we've been listening to and everything. I recently started listening to a podcast called You Must Remember This, which is every episode is a story out of classic Hollywood, where they talk about this actor's life, that director's life. And lately they've been doing miniseries. Now, I will say this. I stuck with this podcast because the stories were fascinating to me. The host of the podcast is kind of an acquired taste, because she works very hard to enunciate every single letter of every word that she says. And it's delivered in one of those styles that is very clearly like, I want you to be able to understand every word that I am saying. So it can be a little bit off-putting at first, but you get used to it, and like I say, the stories are fascinating. They did a mini-series that was entirely about Disney's Song of the South. where they investigated a lot of the arguments people have in favor of it being re-released, a lot of the arguments against it, and they went back and looked at the actual historical record and what was said at the time, and they were like, people who go, oh, well, back when this was released, nobody really cared about this. And they're like, oh, no, there were actual protests over this when it first released. But their latest series they've been doing is they did a mini-series recently called Make Me Over, which is a fascinating series, and I highly recommend it to everyone. It goes through Hollywood, beginning with the silent era actresses and coming right up to Vanessa Williams, and talks about beauty standards in Hollywood and the things women have had to go through. The episode on Esther Williams in particular was a revelation, because Esther Williams is someone who, for like our generation, largely has become kind of like just an image. Like, oh, that's the person with all the synchronized swimming routines sort of things.
And a parody almost, because you can see it in a lot of like comedy, and I remember the Great Muppet Caper.
Yeah, the Great Muppet Caper did an Esther Williams style
Getting
number.
a drink.
But when you listen to them talk about her life and her career, you realize that actually she was an Olympic-level swimmer at a time when the Olympics didn't really allow women to compete. She was Olympic level. She could have been a professional swimmer if the professional world had been willing to let women compete. And the movie studio knew what they had in her. But at the same time, they were absolutely the worst to her. There's one short story, it's a little bit of a spoiler, but it's one short story about where Esther Williams started working on all of her own costumes. And it was because she was supposed to be doing a synchronized swimming routine in the middle of this movie that was about lumberjacks.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a lumberjack-themed swimming routine. And they actually made a flannel-clad swimsuit. Stuck her in it. She dove into the tank that they used to film all of these. And then as soon as she hit the water, the director was like, cut, that's great, everyone go to lunch. And everyone went to lunch and completely missed the fact that Esther Williams was at the bottom of the tank in waterlogged flannel and could not struggle her way out of the water. And if not for like her wardrobe person standing there,
where's my flannel swimsuit? I need it back.
I need that
to clean
flannel
it.
swimsuit. Yeah, we got to get you ready for the next shot. If not for that person hanging around who ran out of the studio and screamed after all the people going to lunch, "Hey, you guys, I think Esther might be dead." She probably would have wound up dead. So you have a lot of these great stories, and there's a lot of sad stories, but there's also stories of triumph, and I highly recommend that podcast to everyone. You must remember this.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully some of the things that we're doing, some of the things that we're watching, you'll find enjoyable as well. If you have any tips for how you're dealing with quarantine, please let us know in the comments below. We're still struggling with reliable internet access. I just got...
Yes.
Or Comcast sent me like, "How is your internet going?" I'm like, "Oh, we just don't got it." So they still haven't fixed that for us, and it's a big job. So like I can't really blame our technician or anybody about like the process, but it did cause me to lose like a week's worth of work. Like I haven't been able to check my email in a week. Like if we're posting or something, it really just is because we are like pirating signal from other places and, unsecured lines. And it's really been quite frustrating. So we're hoping that gets resolved soon. And then, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think my favorite part of the whole thing has been when the technician came over, tried to find where in our apartment the line was not matched up. And then eventually was like, oh, this is new construction. We haven't even run the main line to the building yet. And then we checked in with the people working on finishing up the building. And they said, oh yeah, we tried multiple times to get Comcast out here to actually hook us up. And they said they couldn't do that until the first people moved in and requested it. And it's like, well, we're the first people. We put in a request.
Yeah, and then we've been having a hard time getting mail, although that's come with more frequency now, which has been great. I've had a few packages returned and had to say, send them back. No, we're here. So, and some of our neighbors are moving in, which is great.
Yeah.
We're no longer the only people here. We've seen a couple people move in downstairs. So I think things are definitely getting better.
Yeah.
Again, real quickly before we go, I was like, I hate taking time away from BuzzFeed Unsolved because I love it so much. I just bought stickers for my computer where one is like, okay, Ghost, bye, I love you. Which is from the show. So I'm really excited to see what Glen is proposing. But we are still running our Ko-Fi, our coffee, QuaranStream link down below. I have 1 week worth of work. That is a tongue twister. Worth of work that I have to go in and do, basically, because I lost this whole work week, essentially, from this past week. And then I go on my furlough. So I told Glenn, I was like, it could not have been a worse situation. I have to go into the hospital, wear my mask all day, sit in a room by myself, and work for 8 to 10 hours a day on Monday through Friday, and then I can't do anything. Like, if I log in, like, I won't be eligible for unemployment benefits. Like, I can't help anybody. It's just going to be really frustrating. So the next month is going to be very, very stressful. So this has been a nice distraction, and if y'all think so as well, if you're in the same boat as me, obviously don't donate anything. Like, we'd rather you take care of yourself and your family and your health. But if you can, I mean, even like $4 will get us a nice cup of coffee as I drive to the hospital. But we really enjoy your support of just viewing. But if there's anything that anybody can do to help us out, we will be trying to fix up the apartment, which involves we have to buy our own deck sealant and buy our own paint and put in some storage and shelving. So we're kind of hoping that even though this is not a big fast cash money-making scheme, that if you can show your appreciation with $1 or $2, we would really, really appreciate it. And if not, if there's a better time, I'm going to be on furlough for a whole 3 weeks. So maybe your 3 weeks might improve, and we'd appreciate that as well. So thank you for minding our scroll as we have a pitch today. We appreciate it.
Yes, and I will just add as well, if you're out there and you can't manage a donation, of course, like we said, we appreciate that. Take care of yourself first. It's that old thing, put on your own air mask before you help other people with their air mask. But you can also help out by sharing us around, which you guys have been doing. Our regulars, Jenny, all you guys in Bristol, you are very good at sharing around our link.
And we loved seeing the packages, that you got the packages. That made my day so much.
So share our links around, share people, tell them, even if we're not currently live on Twitch TV, they can still follow us on Twitch so that they get a notification.
Or go to the Film Optimist on YouTube.
Go to the Film Optimist on YouTube.
Watch past episodes.
Yes, watch past episodes. Watch the videos that are already up there.
Watch past ads.
I'm going to be recording some new videos just for the Film Optimist soon. Which I've got scripts I'm working on for those and everything. Every little bit helps. Get the word out and share us around.
And then maybe they might buy a, Virginia's for Social Distancing shirt or something like that.
Yeah.
Which would also help us out as well.
Yes. All right. So we should talk about today's pitch.
Yay! If you haven't seen BuzzFeed Unsolved, it's great. I have really gotten into all the BuzzFeed people after the BuzzFeed Exodus, as it was. So BuzzFeed laid off a whole bunch of people. If you're a younger person, you've certainly been familiar with BuzzFeed as a news site. There's also really silly quizzes, but they actually have a fairly reliable journalism team. They also have Tasty, which is like those 2 or 3 ingredient meals, or maybe the real elaborate meals.
They're like the 5-minute crafts, food hacks, except they actually work.
Right. But, great, an overall pretty good company, but then there was some not so good stuff, and a lot of people were laid off. So a lot of people that I felt were fairly popular, and I would have assumed were big moneymakers for BuzzFeed, left. And formed kind of their own things. So one of the groups are the Try Guys, which I've really gotten into over quarantine, and I really enjoy them. And they formed their own media company, and they produce their own videos now, so it's not necessarily through BuzzFeed. And
The other
Shane
group?
and Ryan, who do BuzzFeed Unsolved, they still do BuzzFeed Unsolved, but they've actually founded like their own company as well. So I'm probably making the assumption that a lot of people after BuzzFeed started firing people decided, well, I can do this on my own. Now I have like, so and so years of experience. I went to college for this. I know how to do video editing and media production, and they just did their own thing.
Yeah.
And so we've been able to kind of watch a lot of it on YouTube now.
Which Ryan and Shane did actually leave BuzzFeed. They aren't actually employed by BuzzFeed anymore. They started their own thing along with Stephen Lin, who did like food videos for BuzzFeed. And they started their own thing called Watcher, which Watcher Media, they produce great stuff. You should go check them out.
Puppet History.
Puppet History is phenomenal.
The best.
And
I feel like today, on the memorial of Jim Henson, go watch a Puppet History. That's like going to be the future of it. It's so good.
But Watcher Media, but they have contracted now that like Watcher Media is subcontracted by BuzzFeed to continue producing BuzzFeed Unsolved. So like they laid off Ryan and Shane, and then they turned around and gave them a contract to keep producing video for them.
We don't know how Hollywood works. Let's just be honest. If we did, we'd be there.
But BuzzFeed Unsolved, just to give you a quick idea of it, BuzzFeed Unsolved started with true crime stories. So, and they still alternate like seasons of it, true crime and supernatural now. But it's basically like modern day unsolved mysteries.
Yes, yeah.
Every episode they cover a true crime story where the person responsible for the crime has never been found. And they go into all of the theories about who it could have been, where the person who did it might have gone, that sort of thing.
And it's like old and new, so it's not anything that's like, oh, this happened last week. It could have. But they also have stuff like from like medieval times.
They'll go all the way back into, as far back into history as they can find an unsolved crime to discuss. And then the alternating seasons are Unsolved, BuzzFeed Unsolved Supernatural, which is them, they started out discussing the history of these supernatural cases and the theories around them and everything. And then in more recent episodes, they've actually started going to the haunted houses.
Yeah, and they've been to Europe, and they've been to America. I don't think they've really been anywhere else, but...
they've had a couple of spots in Asia, I think.
Oh, I didn't...
Definitely
I haven't seen it.
Definitely in Latin America. They hit a few in Latin
America.
America.
Yeah, they did do Mexico. I remember that. But they've mostly done, I think, American hauntings for the most part. So they've been to like the Winchester House. They've been to like the Lizzie Borden House. They've been to a couple places where people just called them and said, I think my apartment's haunted. And they'll go.
And they're very interesting in terms of ghost hunting. For one thing, they don't do a lot of the things that you're used to seeing television shows about ghost hunters do. They don't, I feel when you watch them, they don't try to play up the scare. Like a lot of these other places want it to get to, they're screaming and running around sort of thing. And this is Shane and Ryan are the two people in hosting it.
And Shane is the skeptic.
Shane is a skeptic. He doesn't believe in ghosts.
And Ryan's the believer.
Yes. Ryan is the believer.
And that's what makes it work, I think.
Yeah. I feel like that's the dynamic it needs because it has a very X-Files dynamic to it. That, Ryan is very much up on all of these stories. He knows all of the different things it could be, the different ways you detect them sort of thing. And Ryan knows all of those things. And Shane is the one who's like, I want to see concrete proof. And no, a channel skipper sounding like it's saying a name after you say who's here, that's not concrete proof. One of the bits that they do constantly is Ryan will start talking to the spirit to try to be like, so spirit, if you're in here now, can you show us you're here by... And Shane will interrupt and be like, by knocking me over. Break my leg. Just go ahead right now.
I think Ryan, it's not talked heavily, but I'm assuming his background is Catholic because they visited priests and stuff like that. So he's also very concerned about the spirituality part of it and kind of what that means with everything. But yes, I think that They always make a pledge. They're going to try to be super respectful and talk like it's another normal human being. And it sometimes, because it's like late at night, devolves into silliness.
Yes. Which this is the best thing overall, in my opinion, about the way Unsolved works, both for true crime and for supernatural, is there is an understanding of there are things here that need to be respected. But they're also two very goofy guys. Like, we have said before that, like, neither one of them apparently is a father, but they have the most dad jokes of any YouTube channel that we watch.
Yeah. And they really, like, feed off of each other, because we've seen them with other people, and they just kind of have, like, this dynamic duo type of personality that is almost like perfect improv. Like, if you've ever been to an improv show and you're kind of like, oh, improv show. But they're actually really, really good at it. Like, they start doing, like, a travel channel as part of their Watcher Media. And I think they both went to, like, a Shakespeare theater. And that was really fun to watch.
Yeah.
Because, like, I totally thought Ryan, he's very straight-laced, and he's kind of scared of everything. Oh, yeah, I'll do it. I'll try it. And then Shane was like, okay, I guess I'll do it. Hey, you don't really think it's very gregarious, and I'm up for anything. But because Shane had theater experience, he's like, I don't want to look bad, you know?
Yeah.
But it was really kind of neat. So we highly recommend, if you type in Watcher Weekly or Watcher Media or We Are Watcher, you'll be able to find them on YouTube pretty easily. But they also have, like, a podcast. They have a lot of other stuff. But BuzzFeed Unsolved is the thing that we're talking about today, and that is kind of what they're initially known for. And according to them, it was just by accident. They just happened to be sitting next to each other at a meeting, and they said, you two guys do this idea.
It was, I think Ryan had, like, pitched it. Someone else had worked on a few videos with him about it, but wasn't interested in doing it anymore. And Shane just happened to be sitting next to him, and they were like, Shane, why don't you help Ryan with his Unsolved thing? And the rest is history. It became like a YouTube phenomenon now. So, let's review the elements we have here.
Yes.
Because the elements are where I get my pitch from here.
Okay.
All right?
Ready. Let's Scooby do it.
So we have a central duo. We have Ryan and we have Shane. Two guys, very good-natured, very humorous guys. One's a skeptic. One is a believer. All right? So, and they are read up on true crime and supernatural mysteries. All right? So that's our core elements of the show right there. So my idea is we're going to put together a stage musical around the two characters of Shane and Ryan.
I would also say, like, there's another thing that might be pretty substantial to casting.
All right.
Is Ryan is short.
Yes.
And Shane is tall.
Yes. And this ties into the concept, actually, because I'm like, you got Ryan and Shane. They're more than just modern-day unsolved mysteries. More than just all of those old paranormal shows from the 80s and 90s that a lot of us grew up with, sort of thing. They are also modern-day Abbott and Costello.
Yes. 100%. I hope I know where this is going.
Yes. So it is not just, like Bree just said, one is short, one is tall. So they've even got that old-school comedy duo physical dynamic.
And they bring it up a lot. Like, a lot of times, like, Ryan will be, oh, I can hear something, and Shane will be like, oh, that's because it's close to the ground.
Yeah.
Or, Shane will be like, oh, wind is blowing, and Ryan will be, oh, that's because you're so high up there. So, I mean, it's pretty substantial that if you want to get, like, the whole feeling of it, you're going to have to try to find the dichotomy in the actors as well.
Yeah. So what we've got, like I say, we've got modern-day, essentially, Abbott and Costello here. So what we've got is this show would have to be a throwback to the old school ghost comedies.
Love it.
This is not a genre you see much anymore.
Especially not in, like, musical theater. Like, I think if I'm thinking of a supernatural thing, there's, like, Wicked, or there's, like, Phantom of the Opera, which are pretty serious. They're not played for laughs. They're not goofy. There's not a lot of... I mean... I'm sure that there is if I would, like, sit and think for 2 minutes. But I can't think of a big, goofy, supernatural, spectacular. I think most of the times when you're talking about supernatural in musical theater, they go a bit more serious and melodrama.
But for me, I look at this and I'm like, this is so clearly Like I say, you don't see it very often nowadays. Not a lot in live theater. Film is where this really lived for a long time.
And Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, film and Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo was based off of the old movies.
Yeah.
So you're talking about Abbott and Costello meet the killer. Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. You're talking also about lots of other duos and groups like that didn't necessarily reach that level of branding, but it was a very common type of comedy. Hillbillies in a Haunted House.
I feel like the
a little bit more of a contemporary one, and that's back in the late 60s.
Yeah, I think like the road movies as well. Like I think that kind of like lends it to that, because every single time they go to a place, like it is really like we're off on the road and they're having this adventure. So I think that would be a really particularly fun challenge to show kind of a goofy horror musical comedy that's also like a journey, like not only like, you know, personal journey, but actual, okay, we're going from Los Angeles to, you know, Salem, Massachusetts or something.
Yeah. So now, and to put, I want to combine in one show BuzzFeed Unsolved, Supernatural, and True Crime. All right? So what we would have then is we would have the very classic ghost comedy setup that is mirrored in Scooby-Doo of, are the ghosts real, or are the ghosts criminals trying to use ghosts to hide what they're actually up to? All right?
I like it.
So my concept for this is essentially we're going to blend that old school comedy duo, ghost comedy. We're going to blend that with William Castle. So things like House on Haunted Hill is a good one. House on Haunted Hill starring Vincent Price. Classic sort of cheesy movie. You see it all the time. It's famous because, for one thing, it's public domain. Anybody can play it who wants to at any time and not owe anybody any money. And two, because it was actually filmed, the exterior shots were actually filmed at a house designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. So the spooky haunted mansion is this ultra sleek, modern-like design that you can actually find in the hills of Los Angeles still. But that was a story of someone attempting to cover up a murder that they wanted to commit by convincing everybody that they were stuck in a haunted house. So my idea for this show is that we open with Ryan and Shane. And we have Ryan and Shane have been invited to check out this haunted house. They show up expecting to like film this for BuzzFeed Unsolved, sort of thing like that. But when they get there, they're not the only people in the house. There's actually a group of people there.
Ooh.
And you have the...
like my favorite, Murder by Death.
Yes, exactly. Murder by Death used a lot of the same structure for this sort of thing.
Yes.
And you can even have, like, the, what was it? The guys who were like a Roto-Rooter company who also did ghost hunting.
Yes.
You can have characters based on those guys there. You can have Egon and Ray from the Ghostbusters are basically there. So you have other, like, classic ghost hunting teams, and Ryan and Shane are two of this group who have basically been promised, like, we're going to lock you in this house overnight. The first one of you to find evidence of ghosts wins $10 million. All right? Which I can see that being a fun thing between them, of, like, Shane being like, you know, what if we just...
Well, I feel like Shane would be the one that's like, we don't need that.
Yeah, Shane would be like...
We don't care. And then Ryan was just like, come on, we just started up a media company. We really
we really need that. That's a good dynamic for them. Shane is the one who's like...
What if we just leave now? We're
like,
never going to find any ghosts. Let's just leave now.
Like, we've been doing this for years now. We've never found any concrete evidence. No, I've got the channel skipper right here. Yes, I know you have the channel skipper right there. You always have the channel skipper.
And it's my least favorite part.
Yes. No, don't turn it on. I turned it on. But so then what we have is we have lots of room or crazy hijinks as the other members of the group start disappearing. And we have plenty of special effects. We can have a skeleton come out and tap Ryan on the shoulder, but disappear just before Shane gets back.
Well, you know what I think would be really funny is, so, I mean, you don't know the Addams Family musical very well, but there's like a whole scene where all the ancestors come back, all the ghosts come back. I would love it if that was like almost like a big musical number that starts with like the skeleton tapping and then all the skeleton.
Yes, that could be a lot of fun. You have all of the skeletons. You have basically the scene that happens in every ghost comedy where the guy who's the nervous little guy sees all of the ghosts, and when he gets the tall, cool, calm, collected guy back in the room, they're all gone.
Especially when there's like 50 of them having this huge, loud tap dance musical number, and then Shane comes in. It's like, what?
You know what would be a fun thing to play with? In Smokey Joe's Cafe. Yes. The shopping for clothes bit with the dancing mannequin. Yes. Something like that with the ghosts could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I really, really want, in my head, the song that has started working itself out as I could actually write this for the pitch. Didn't get it written in time to pitch it to you guys. But I was like, I would love to do the Channel Skipper Blues. I would love to do something with, for those of you who don't know what a channel skipper is, EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, where they set down a recorder and they ask questions and then they check the recording. It used to be like they would say, oh, tune a television to white noise in the background while you record, and then listen to the white noise for responses. But modern day televisions don't have white noise. They just have like a blank blue screen without any sound. So they came up with channel skippers as the alternative. The channel skipper goes really fast through all the available radio channels. So it's just like scanning through on your radio signal, and you ask questions, and the idea is that the ghost can influence the channel skipper so that it picks up the little bits of sound in order to answer your question.
And they've got some really fun ones. Like, I think one of the one popularized is, it sounded like a ghost said apple tater. Yeah. And then Tasty made what they would think an apple tater was. Yes. So it became like this whole big thing. It was so silly. Yeah.
But so I would love to have that sound of the channel skipper turned into this like percussive element. And I even have it in my head as a moment of Shane, standing there with the channel skipper. Because they always send Ryan in with the channel skipper, and he's the believer. And then they send in Shane with the channel skipper, and he's like, well, I guess I gotta turn this thing on now. I would love a moment of Shane basically being like, this thing's not that bad. It's got kind of a beat to it, And it turns into him singing with the channel skipper.
Also, Shane's the one that has creative puppet history and creates his own songs all the time. Yes. So he'll find an inanimate object for the most part in history and then sing as it, which is why I think I enjoy it so much. It's just crazy enough to work. So I think that would be really funny as well.
Yeah. And so, of course, ultimately what this all winds up with is it winds up with the criminal who's at the heart of this big scheme winds up exposed. And Shane and Ryan sort of expose it, but they kind of bumble their way into exposing it. So they just manage to collect the right clue at a time that the FBI storms the house to make an arrest, sort of thing.
And then what I like it is, so that means the end is basically reset. So it's kind of the same end of every other BuzzFeed Unsolved Supernatural, which is I told you it wasn't a ghost. And it really wasn't a ghost.
Yeah, but then you can have one of the dancing skeletons return in the finale. So that you can have that moment of, as they always like to say in Unsolved, so until next time, it looks like this mystery still remains unsolved. And there's Lola. Lola apparently likes the pitch well enough that she wants to be in the show.
No, I like that. I like that a lot. I know that the new Scooby-Doo movie was just released electronically online. I, of course, am a big Scooby-Doo fan. I've always loved that Eddie Izzard bit where he talks about there's only two great cowards in literature, one is Falstaff, and one is Shaggy and Scooby.
Yeah.
So I kind of love the idea that, you've kind of taken all these like really fun things from, our childhood that's really hasn't been, I think, a part of many people's childhood in recent years, and made something fun and almost like really fairly traditional musical theater setup, like with the beginning and the numbers and the end and everything, but really trying to adapt a film style into a stage style pretty successfully. So I'd watch it. I'd like it. I was like, and Ryan and Shane, if you like it, we'll go to LA. We'll write a treatment and just let it go.
I know we just moved into this place. We will head to LA to work on the stage show with you.
We'll still have this place though.
Yes. And,
Somebody put us up in LA if we go.
And always, the legal disclaimers, of course, when I pitch this idea, we have not already licensed this or anything like that.
No.
If anybody wants to help us afford to be able to license something like this, we've got... We sell t-shirts.
Got a dream. We got a dream.
Just want to see those unsolved lanterns gleam. I mean,
yeah.
But yeah, so that is it's a very, like you said, it's a very traditional sort of show. But I feel like that's a type of show we don't see practiced so much anymore that I would love to see come back, because I feel like we've had a great horror renaissance in the past couple of decades. We went through a period of specific types of horror. We've got Bristol is saying they'd watch it. We've had like a low period in horror for a little bit there, with just a few movies sort of punctuating it, and then it just came roaring back with what Blumhouse is doing and everything. But we're missing the comedy element. We're missing the ability to kind of laugh at things that might scare us ordinarily.
Yeah, to be a bit braver, which would be nice, because I think, as somebody who's scared of everything all the time, always, and will never watch a horror film because I always think of the most horrific things anyway, I like when you feel like things are going to be okay, or you feel like things are surmountable. And I think when you can kind of laugh at the things that scare you, as, Pinkie Pie would say from My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, you feel braver and you feel stronger and you can take on those challenges.
Yeah.
So, and it would be also kind of fun to have a horror musical that, like, little kids can watch.
Yes.
Because I think we've seen a few horror musicals, even like a little bit, because like there's the Toxic Avenger musical and Bat Boy and stuff like that, but they're still kind of driven towards, well, this is adult material and we're going to curse, and so maybe having something BuzzFeed Unsolved, which is pretty highly in PG-13 area, like they bleep all their curses, and that might be a funny gag of having the white noise machine do the bleeps or something. I think that would be really fun to have, like, something like where Beetlejuice might be a little bit scarier, but could still have the whole family go. I think that you could have something like that for this.
And here is my title for the show. Hey Demons, it's your boy, the BuzzFeed Unsolved musical.
What are they? The Ghoul Boys.
The Ghoul Boys, yes. Starring the Ghoul Boys, yes.
Yes. No, it's like, I think it'd be cute. I'd really like it. I always look forward to watching BuzzFeed Unsolved. I always look forward to watching, the Watcher programming. On Sundays, they actually do something called social distancing in D&D. And I'm not a big D&D person. I get why people like it. It's just not for me. And I can appreciate things like Critical Role and things that have really made it blown up in popularity and people who like to do it. But it's just been so funny to kind of watch their imagination go with this. So I feel like this is kind of like a nice little...
Thank you, Jenny. Jenny loves the title.
Yes, so, I love it.
But yeah, social distancing in D&D has been a fun one, especially for those of you out there who know or have knowledge of D&D. They have what are called character alignments, which is supposed to like determine how your character behaves.
Yes.
Because it's like, and it goes from lawful good all the way down to like chaotic evil. And the idea is like lawful good means you absolutely follow the law, you believe in the order, and you believe in doing that which is right. And then you'll have neutral good, chaotic good, Then you have neutral good, which is basically like you're not really that married to the law more than you are married to the concept of right. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, when you get down to chaotic evil, that's basically the Joker, the Heath Ledger version of the Joker, where you just want to watch the world burn. And there will be times watching social distancing in D&D where they'll do something and I'm like, hold up. What alignment is your cleric, please? All right.
Yes. Hey,
thank you. Yes. Start writing
idea.
the script while you're furloughed. That's a good idea. We should start working on that.
Yeah, we'll see how today's script goes.
Yes.
So we'll see how that works.
We've never actually tried writing something as a team before.
No, we mostly just talk about it and write notes about it and then cry a lot and then 2 years later say, wait, were we supposed to do something? So that is an excellent idea. There's nothing better to take your mind off of some furlough than by writing a script. And it seems like this is a real popular one. At least we can maybe send it to the guys and be like, hey, what do you think? Can we use your likenesses? Take it to some fringe festivals.
Yes. Well,
I keep threatening that I was like, at the end of this, if we actually write all of these pitches and we kind of have all the pieces done that we want to do, we'll just have kind of a quarantine fringe festival because I used to live in Charlottesville and work here, and so I know how to get performance venues. I know how to get space. So if we just find actors and space, hey, it could happen.
Yeah.
I think people want social interaction after this. I don't know if it will happen in the next year, depending on how good Virginia does with social distancing, but you gotta have a dream.
Yes. You gotta keep pushing forward. Like, you won't have to stay inside all the time.
Yes.
It can't rain all the time.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, that was fantastic. Well, I'm so excited about that.
Yeah.
I love it.
We gotta make this happen.
Yeah.
All right.
High five.
High five.
Well, great. And we're so happy that you guys liked it. If you're watching this later on YouTube and you want to know if you liked it or if you think that, I don't know, you have some other negative comments maybe, we would love to read it. We'd love to have some social engagement here. Hopefully we'll have some more really fun news next week. I don't even know what we're doing next week. We need to make sure that we always pull up our thing. We used to have a little drawer here that we pull out and say, well, what are we doing?
And the drawer is right over there.
Since the move, we don't know. I do think that this is where we start pitching our Disney sequel ideas.
I believe, yes. This is musical sequels is coming up next. And honestly, I've had so much fun doing the YouTube ones.
Yeah.
I kind of want to do, after we've played out what we scheduled, if we're still doing this, I want to circle back and do more YouTube musicals.
That'd be fun.
I've had a lot of fun with this. Yeah.
We love to kind of show people more YouTube because we really like highlighting independent creative artists and a lot of people who are now stuck inside or a lot of people who might be disabled tend to work on YouTube, or if they are lucky enough, they can have a lot of their revenue generated that way. So we know as independent artists ourselves, we like to support independent artists however they can be. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Patreon, but Glen is. I've never done Patreon because I get nervous and I need all my money to pay bills. But Glen has done a couple bucks here and there. So YouTube is kind of another great way that, we don't have to necessarily shell out our own money, but according to likes and according to views, that definitely helps the algorithm. It helps people kind of make an independent kind of monetized video, which is nice. And so we do that a lot. So yeah, we could definitely do more YouTube. If you have any other ideas, we would love to hear it in the comments.
Yeah, Jenny is definitely down for more YouTube shows.
Excellent. We'd love to introduce them to you. But I'm a big fan of certain Disney Channel original movies. So I think that's where we're going next. One of the things I would really like to kind of see, and we've talked about this before, is I'd love to see a musical adaptation of Hocus Pocus. But more or less, like, I have two series I'm very obsessed about. One is the Teen Beach movie franchise. I really love it, and I've always threatened, I was like, this is what I would do if I was remaking it, so I think that's where we're going to kind of go. And I also love the Disney Descendants movies. I'm like the oldest fan without kids. Like, all of my cousins who have children, they know the Disney Descendants films. I just know it because Kristen Chenoweth and Cheyenne Jackson were on them, and Mark Shaman wrote Kristen Chenoweth's song. So there's all these Broadway people, and I'm really had to watch it for Broadway people. So I really like them, and I always threatened I would like to pitch the, you know, Wicked Royal Wedding, because that's the next thing that's coming up, because she was already, like, dating the prince, and then they're going to get engaged, and they haven't had, like, the wedding yet, but I was like, ooh, so I have kind of a pitch of what I would do for that.
So Disney Netflix's Descendants, the Royal Wedding.
Right. So that's something that I'd like to pitch, because I was like, there's probably no way, in this lifetime, although you never know, that I would get an opportunity to write these types of movies and have them produced by Disney.
Oh, yes. And speaking of Disney, when we were talking about all of the news coming up and everything, we missed the big story everyone's been talking about all week, which is that Hamilton is coming to Disney+.
Yes, on, like, 3rd of July, right before 4th of July. So you can have a whole very American 4th of July at home, don't have to go anywhere, watch something that people pay thousands of dollars for.
And this is actually a video of, it's a professionally filmed video of the original stage production. Yeah. So it's not a film adaptation, it's actually like you're seeing the show as it was performed on Broadway. And this is huge for a lot of reasons. A lot of people are talking about, yes, this needs to be the way forward for Broadway, having this kind of film of every production so that it can be released later, sort of thing. And the thing that I latched on for this is, you know, for all the people who are like, oh, you can never make money with a theater degree, what are you going to do? Disney paid $75 million for the rights to release this video. The video already existed. They had already shot the video for their highly successful Broadway show. And in a bidding war for the rights to distribute a video production of a Broadway show, Disney paid $75 million. It's not just that they paid so much. That is a record for the most amount of money that any major studio has ever paid to distribute an already completed film. No other independent film that has ever been purchased by a major studio pulled more money. That's crazy to me. And that sort of is amazing that it became such a cultural phenomenon now, that it pulls that, and Disney is like, you know what, we were going to release it next year, but put it up on Disney Plus now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really exciting. It's very, very exciting for us who create stuff. I know that In the Heights is popular now, but it definitely wasn't popular when it came out. When, it was fine. People liked it well enough, but I think Lin-Manuel Miranda was really ahead of his time with all that. He ended up working for, the New Electric Company and Sesame Street. Like, he would write songs for them. So, like, his success was certainly not overnight. I think people who kind of know Hamilton definitely seems like it.
He definitely worked his way up.
But I feel like Glenn makes a very good point, is, like, that's a really, nice turn of change for any IP, but particularly somebody who is like, I'm going to school to major in theater and major in musical theater and try to kind of make a living off of it and kind of hustle and do what he likes to do. And granted, like, he did a lot for Disney in the past, so, I mean, it kind of makes a lot of sense. But at the same time, I was like, it's really nice for those of us who love theater, who went to school for theater, really seeing that there's a lot of potential out there, and a lot of it is hit or miss. I think that's why a lot of parents worry when they see their kids going into theater, because this is like winning the lottery. It really, really is. But it shows that there's such value in producing content and creating things, and especially now in time of quarantine. So fingers crossed. Maybe these scripts, you never know. 10, 12 years later.
All right. So let's see. Is there anything else we got to cover before we go?
I think that's it. If we get internet up sooner rather than later, we will start posting the past 3 shows, which have been filmed without internet, up. And we will go ahead and post some of our ads, which we've been sitting on. So we really do need to like produce more. And I know that production is not equivalent to your worth as a human being, but it's something that we'd really like to have out there for you guys to enjoy. And so hopefully, if we can just get secured, safe internet for our home, we want to share all this with you. We still have been making things. We still have things to do. I'll let you know if we end up doing a performance in Animal Crossing. But we will at least say for now, we're going to sign off saying we'll see you Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Yes, and as always, we love you guys. Take care of yourselves, and, definitely take care of yourselves, because we're not there to take care of you, all right? All right. Bye for now.